Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to our podcast, where we dive into the exciting world of learning English in practical, fun, and sometimes surprising ways. I'm Ben, and today's episode is going to be super useful, whether you're just starting to learn English or have been practicing for a while. We're talking about how to introduce yourself. Now, introductions are one of the most common things we do in any language, right? So why not make sure you nail it in English?
But why does this matter so much? Think about it. When you introduce yourself, you're opening the door to a conversation, a connection, maybe even a friendship or a business opportunity. It's like the first handshake with words.
It might seem like a small part of speaking English, but it's really the foundation of any interaction. First impressions are powerful, and mastering how to introduce yourself confidently in English can really set the stage for more meaningful conversations.
Exactly. By the end of today's episode, you'll know exactly how to introduce yourself in different situations, whether it's casual with friends or more formal, like at work or in an interview. And trust me, you're going to feel so much more at ease when that moment comes. We're also going to break down some common phrases, useful vocabulary, and even talk about mistakes to avoid. As always, I've got my fantastic friends Claire and Nathan here with me to help out. So Claire, how are you feeling about today's topic?
I'm super excited to dive into this topic, Ben. Introducing yourself is something we do all the time, but it's one of those things that can be a bit nerve-wracking when you're speaking a language that's not your first. I mean, there's always that moment of, oh no, what should I say? But here's the good news. It doesn't have to be hard at all. We're going to make it super easy for you to feel confident when meeting new people in English, no matter where you are.
That's so true. The goal today is to help everyone listening feel relaxed and ready to introduce themselves in English without feeling stressed. We're going to give you some real-life examples, go over common phrases, and share tips on how to make your introduction sound natural. Let's start with a simple example. Claire, can you introduce yourself as if we just met at a party?
Of course! Here's how I'd introduce myself in a casual setting. Hi, I'm Claire. I'm from Australia and I love hiking and playing the guitar. See? It's simple, friendly, and it gives the person I'm talking to a little bit of information about me.
That's great, Claire. You mentioned your name, where you're from, and something personal that could spark a conversation. It's casual, but still gives enough information for the other person to ask more questions like, oh, where do you hike? Or, how long have you played guitar?
Exactly. And remember, in casual situations like this, you don't need to give a lot of details. Keep it short and friendly. The goal is to make it easy for the conversation to continue. Now, how about something a little more formal? Like if you're at a networking event or maybe in a work setting.
Oh, right. If I were at a formal event or an interview, I would say something like, "Good afternoon. My name is Nathan. I'm an English teacher with 5 years of experience, and I'm passionate about helping people improve their language skills." Can you tell the difference? In formal situations, it's good to give your name, what you do, and a bit about your background or interests. It helps give context to the conversation and makes you sound professional.
So, in a more formal setting, your introduction might be a little longer and more structured. You can add details about your job, your expertise, or even what brought you to the event. But again, the key is not to overwhelm the other person with too much information. You want to keep it clear and concise. Now the fun part. I'll give you 10 seconds to introduce with whatever setting suits you, casual or formal. Say it out loud, don't just thinking of it. Ready? Go.
How did it go, everyone? You should be proud of yourself to say it out loud like that. One thing I always tell my students is to be aware of the situation. If you're at a casual event, keep your introduction light and simple. Like, hey, I'm Claire. I love music and exploring new places. But in a more formal situation, like at work or an interview, it's better to include something related to your professional background. For example, hello, I'm Claire. I work in marketing, and I've been in the industry for about 4 years.
Great point, Claire. It's all about reading the room. You wouldn't introduce yourself the same way to your new boss as you would to someone at a coffee shop, right?
Exactly. You can think of your introduction as a way to build a bridge between you and the person you're talking to. In a casual setting, you're inviting a friendly conversation. In a formal setting, you're creating a more professional connection.
Let's take a second to talk about some common mistakes people make when introducing themselves in English. One big mistake I see is people giving too much information too quickly. Like when someone says, "Hi, I'm Ben. I live in New York. I have 3 dogs. I love pizza. I like to read. And I just started learning the guitar." That's a lot, right?
Yeah, exactly. When people are nervous, they sometimes feel like they need to share everything at once. But remember, introductions are just the start of a conversation. Keep it simple. You can always share more details as the conversation goes on.
Another mistake is being too formal when it's not necessary. If you're meeting friends of friends at a casual gathering, you don't need to say, "Good evening, my name is Claire. I'm a marketing professional from Sydney." It's way too formal for that situation.
Yep, you don't want to sound like a robot. Keep it natural, especially when you're in a casual setting. And like Nathan said, don't worry about being perfect. It's totally okay if your introduction changes a little, depending on the situation.
All right, now, let's go over some key vocabulary that can help you when introducing yourself. These are words you'll use often, so it's good to get comfortable with them. Introduce. This means to tell someone your name and basic information. For example, "Let me introduce myself." Casual. This means relaxed, informal, like when you're talking to friends. For example, "Hi, I'm Nathan." Formal. This means more serious. Professional, like in a job interview. For example, "Good afternoon, my name is Nathan." These words will help you adjust your introduction based on the situation. Now, Claire, how about we talk about making your introduction memorable?
Yeah, absolutely. Adding a bit of personality to your introduction can really help people remember you. If you feel comfortable, you can share something fun or unique about yourself. For example, "Hi, I'm Claire, and I have a secret talent. I can juggle." Or something like, "I'm Ben, and I once hiked across 4 countries in a month."
I love that. When you add a personal touch, it makes your introduction more interesting and gives the other person something to respond to. It also helps break the ice, especially if you're in a new or awkward situation.
Absolutely. And if humor isn't your thing, you can still share something unique, like a hobby or a fun fact about where you're from. It gives people a way to connect with you. All right, time for some more vocabulary. These words will help you sound more confident when talking about yourself. Fluent. This means being able to speak a language very well. For example, "I'm not fluent yet, but I'm working on it." Experience means the knowledge or skill you get from doing something. For example, "I have experience teaching English." Hobby. This means something you enjoy doing in your free time. For example, "My hobby is playing soccer." Okay, there you have it. Try to use them in introduction conversation as much as you can.
Those are very useful words. Thanks, Nathan. To wrap things up, let's review a few key tips for introducing yourself. First, keep it simple and clear. Start with your name, where you're from, and 1 or 2 personal details. If you're in a formal setting, add a bit about your work or experience. And most importantly, be confident. Even if you make a mistake, that's okay. The other person will appreciate the effort, and you're learning, which is what matters.
Yep, true, and practice really helps. The more you practice, the more natural it will feel. You can even practice with a friend or record yourself to see how you sound.
Great advice, Claire. And don't forget that it's not just what you say, but how you say it. Make eye contact, smile, and use a friendly tone. These small details make a big difference in how your introduction is received.
One last thing to remember is that everyone has their own style when it comes to introducing themselves. You don't have to follow a script word for word. The goal is to be yourself and let your personality shine through. If you're more outgoing, your introduction might be a bit more energetic. If you're more on the quiet side, that's fine too. Just be authentic.
Absolutely. And remember, no one expects perfection, especially if you're speaking in a second language. The important thing is to practice, get comfortable, and keep improving.
That's right, and if you ever feel stuck or nervous, just keep it simple. "Hi, I'm Claire. Nice to meet you." That's all you need to start a conversation, and the rest will flow naturally from there.
All right, that brings us to the end of today's episode. I hope you all feel a little more confident about introducing yourself in English. It's one of the first steps to making connections and having great conversations. And like we said earlier, practice makes perfect, or at least progress.
That's right. Keep practicing, don't be afraid to make mistakes, and remember that everyone you talk to has been in the same position as you at some point.
Exactly. The more you practice, the easier it will get. And here's the best part. In this channel, we provide complete tools to improve your English in a fun and easy way. So in case you forgot to click that subscribe button, do it now. It's completely free. You've got this. Thanks for joining us today, everyone. We've got plenty of great topics coming up, so stay tuned.
And if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, feel free to reach out. We'd love to hear from you. Take care and keep practicing. See you in the next episode.